maybe they were here.
No.
Getting a little nervous.
If they're,
She's clear
if they're
due, right?
Yeah, if they're gonna induce her in another week if she hasn't had
If she
it.
hasn't.
Sorry, my brain's a little slow. We're ready whenever you are.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Today is Monday, the 13th of May, 2024. We're in the Iron County Commission meeting. Welcome, everyone. All four of you that are here, thank you. This morning we're going to start out our Pledge of Allegiance and our prayer. Commissioner Cousins is going to lead us in our prayer this morning, and Commissioner Woods is going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Our Father in heaven, as we come before this beautiful spring morning in this commission meeting, we express our gratitude for the opportunities we have to be here to conduct this meeting and to be able to function as Iron County government. We express our gratitude for the beautiful valleys we live in and for the opportunities that does give us every day. We're thankful for our families and those we love, and pray a blessing upon them this day. And we pray for our citizens that are in this county, that they'll be productive and safe and happy and be able to do those things which would bring them happiness and joy. We thank you for all that we have in our lives. We acknowledge thy hand in our lives, and we thank you for the moisture thou hast blessed us with recently, and pray that we may continue to receive that which is necessary to sustain life and crops. We pray for our public safety folks in the county. They'll be watched over and protected. We pray for the other employees that we have that are so dedicated, and pray that they may know of our appreciation for them. We thank thee once again for all that we have. We pray thy spirit may be with us as we deliberate in this meeting this day, that we may have kindness and peace and perform the duties and responsibilities we have this day before us. And we offer this prayer humbly in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good timing.
Thank you. We have minutes here, looks like, from our April 22nd meeting. Everybody had an opportunity to...
Yep, they were good, I think. I'd move to approve the minutes. Approve the minutes for 4/22/2024.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. We also have claims for payment for...
I'll move to approve the claims for payment from April 22nd, 24 to May 12th, 24.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Doesn't look like we have any attorneys here. But, and CJC's not here. Lori's here. Yay!
Well, I think John had come across and said that he and Wendy couldn't be here.
Oh.
That's why on this one,
No,
it's just Justice Corp.
Oh, I didn't.
Here, John, I got them out of whack, but it's
Oh,
all
man.
it's all there.
You got 40 minutes, Lori, to fill, so hope you're ready.
I hope you've been really busy in your office. Absolutely.
Actually, I'll probably take a few moments more than I normally do.
you, madam.
So for the usual business, just a recap of the budget. We are on target. The only thing I will point out that we'll keep an eye on throughout the end of the year is the interpreters again. So they're going from $52 an hour to $54. I wish I had spoken a language.
I got to go get certified.
Yeah, yeah, you should. And like we've got one gentleman who assists us with French and Arabic, and he's commanding $60 an hour. So if you want him, and he is so good and he's so valuable, you know, that you pay it. So in demand. So we'll, you know, keep an eye on it. It's not necessarily an issue now. I'm just mentioning it. From the staffing standpoint, we're fully staffed, and what that looks like is 9 total, including our presiding judge. Moving on to the reports that I usually provide you. As far as charges that were filed in the first quarter, that's what I'm covering is the first quarter. DUIs up 5. There were 43 in the first quarter. Assaults, they were down. Overall violations, have been up. The filings have been up. Theft was actually up 16 cases in the first quarter, and substances up. DVs for the first time in a couple of years since COVID, down a couple. Still significant number though, 45 filed in the first quarter of this year, and overall we were up 653. And this is in charges. Below that, and you'll see some scribble marks there, that actually is the case number. We were, at the end of the first quarter, we were 3,127 cases filed, and that is technically up almost 500. As far as revenues that were collected in the first quarter, 41,000 up over last year, 15,800 was dispersed to the state. And the county retained an additional 25,546 over what we have in the first quarter of last year. And then that's just that citation comparison report that I usually provide to you. And that saves me time to discuss something that I just wanted to bring up, start giving you a heads up about a special subject for the court, and it's court pay. Not looking for any decisions, wouldn't do anything inappropriate for you today, but I just wanted to bring up some of the things that have changed over the last few years. And namely is the certification that over the course, since 2022, there was a ruling that was passed that started requiring that judicial assistants be certified and continually trained and educated to keep up with the best practices and the most current legislative changes. So what does that look like? In addition to that yearly conference that we go to, half of our staff now goes and half the staff is able to view it online. That kind of keeps down on some of our training costs because they're not doing it twice a year anymore. The AOC created a couple of years ago, a learning management system. So all judicial assistants are required to access that and perform training. The court system is intricate. There are a lot of policies and procedures that are mandated. And these courses and the offerings help us to become truly expert in what we do. And the good news is that, from a staffing standpoint, we have now Julie that's been with us close to 18 years. 18, Julie? Myself going on 10. Then we've got an 8-year, going on 9, 7 going on 8. These were things that we were battling when I first came in. So, then we're in the 4 and 5 category, and then a couple of them that are just one's a few months and one's just going on a year and a half. But it's a stabilized workforce. The classes that we have to now take, there are at least 2 a month that we have to do to keep up with our certifications. They send us a list every 6 months that we have to take care of. Then there is...
That's online?
It is, yeah. Some of what we have to do, though, is job shadowing. We try to make sure that we do a lot of job shadowing internally so that everybody's pretty versatile and with the other, responsibilities and duties of the other judicial assistants. But we are required to also cross-train with other courts, and that's got value because we get to see how maybe they do things differently, But it is time-consuming. So in addition to our, the duties of running the court and now staying abreast of this certification, the court certification is now tied to the certification of the clerks, the judicial assistants also. It's imperative that, if we want to remain certified as a court, we better stay certified. And then I included a memo just behind this from Jim Peters in April of 2024, this year, where they have gotten some teeth behind this now. If a judicial assistant falls behind on their training, they will cut their access to chorus where they can't even work. So they're serious about it. We better stay up on it, and our court does. I guess I'm just trying to hit home how important it is, that we do that. And one of the things that I did was I contacted, we reached out, and I did have a little bit of help from Jennifer. She helped me just reach out to some of the other counties and go ask them to give us the starting pay for judicial assistants in their counties. So the next sheet that I have there is that minimum hourly starting rate for responding courts. And the overall of the courts that responded is an average starting pay of $18.56 an hour is the average. So obviously some higher, some lower. Then we broke it down by class. So we're a Class 1 court. In the Class 1 courts, the average is $18.49. In the Class 1 courts that are in a Class 3 county, it actually is the exact same figure, $18.49. And we are currently at $17 and almost 10 cents an hour as a starting pay. That is more in line with what a Class 3 county is and a Class, 3 court. Just wanted to get that out. So what I would like to recommend, and I'm not putting you on the spot today, but I would like, this to just be something that we consider, and if it means that it's something we discuss at budget time for next year, I understand that. I would like to restructure our titles and our grades based on this information. So currently, we have judicial assistant, judicial assistant 2, one senior judicial assistant, myself, the administrator, and our judge. What I'd really like to do is take that entry-level position and make it really an entry-level training position. So instead of it starting at a 2, it would start at a 3, which would currently be $17.95 an hour. And within the first 6 months to a year, if that individual completes all the training, and that training doesn't look like, hey, what they start when they say they started January 1st, and they've got 6 months of training. Doing that 6 months of training isn't what I'm looking for. What I'm looking for is getting caught up on all of the training that has taken place since the inception of the certification, so that you're well-versed on all of the different trainings and procedures and processes. And I think that could take a good 6 months to a year. If the individual does that, and I think there's motivation behind that, then they would qualify to go to a judicial assistant 2 position. And so that would be the new layer that would be created. But they couldn't do that until they had passed all of their training. And then those that are currently at their 5 years of service, they would go to a judicial assistant 3 position, and you can see what I've done with the grades there, as well as, taking them from a 4 to a 5, and the senior judicial assistant from a 5 to a 6, and raising that court administrator position as well. Anyway, I just want you to hang on to these materials. Right behind it's all the information that I gathered from the different courts that responded. And then I did include job descriptions that include now the new position that I would hope that we could restructure and maybe discuss more down the road. Finally, there's just a recap of, and believe me, I know you guys hear this, we've had special needs with different departments at different times. I know that the sheriffs, have been in need, and I know that the road department had to. I just know that this is the right thing for me to at least just bring the subject up with you, because my staff, would like to know that I communicated to you that we do have these new demands on them and the certification, and from a morale standpoint, it was important for them to let me at least be their voice today, and bring this up. It's imperative for Iron County to remain a desirable employer, by offering competitive salaries. I presented, a case for increasing those salaries. We could certainly discuss more as the months, throughout the end of the year, as time goes by. Currently, Iron County, as well as I know other counties, are facing challenges in attracting top talent. The salaries, as I pointed out, are falling behind what is the average. Over the past 9+ years, through a lot of hard work and mindful leadership, not just me, Julie, the others that have risen to the occasion in our department, we've been able to stabilize our workforce, but I do see this issue regarding pay starting to affect morale. The good news is we don't have defection. We've actually been able to stabilize, but I don't want to wait until there's defection. I'd like to at least address it beforehand. So the importance of what I've discussed here today is just attracting talent when the opportunity to hire comes along, being able to retain these experienced people that we have. I don't want them looking for positions elsewhere. It's motivating, I think, this proposal that I'm going to make over the next few months about restructuring. I think that does create some motivation, that they don't feel like they're necessarily dead-ended with only 1 or 2 job titles or descriptions. And then I think it also just helps maintain a positive image for, not only for the court but for the county. I know that it would be an initial outlay of additional cash and additional expense, and I know that that's not always an easy subject, but I also know that implementing something like this could cost us could save us moving forward. So bottom line, in conclusion, just look to, I want to thank you for indulging me this moment to discuss this subject, and I do look forward to talking to you after the fact, or and like I said, if it's something that's better discussed in depth and considered at the time of budget discussions, that's certainly fine, and we understand. But I wanted to at least get this ball rolling and let you know it was something that the Justice Court was looking at, having you consider on our behalf. Do you have any questions? No.
No, and I've said this a lot during these meetings. We really appreciate you guys, and you're a department that's low drama and low drag. We appreciate you guys' hard work, and
thank you.
Your department makes our job a lot easier. A lot of times, just the way that you guys function and the professionalism, it's really appreciated.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Commissioner Blake. I appreciate all of you. And we certainly do. We appreciate, the COLAs. And, it just came to my attention that you've got the city, they're going with an 8.7% COLA. You've got Bryan Head going 10%. And I hear Parowan's going to go 4%. And I'm not discussing that today. I'm just discussing.
I hate all those people that are not on a calendar year with us.
Anyway, it was really more about the structure of the step and grade and addressing that specific to them. I know that when we had the big meetings regarding the regarding the jail. I think you had mentioned, Commissioner Blake, that the 5th District, which I do have to include them in here because they're paying a minimum of now it's over $20 an hour. That's literally just almost the same parking lot, same town. And I get it's state funded. We understand that, and we're not asking you to necessarily consider that. Just looking at those averages and considering that. If you'd consider it for budget time, great. But if we wait for budget time, we humbly appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay.
So, thank
for all
you.
you do.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Is that it, John?
Yeah.
Department reports.
So the screen has Attorney CJC Justice Court
Right.
Commission, but I'm assuming most of those folks called off
Okay.
just because I wasn't here, but I'm assuming that's why Chanel took them off.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to commission reports. Right, Commissioner Wood, do you want to?
Okay, yeah.
Since I'm kind of angled this direction.
So, I went to UAC convention last week and the week before, I guess it was, but it was good. It was the legislative convention, which they go over some of the things that they did in the legislature, and it was good. It was, just kind of talking about the other things that we've done. But UAC is 100 years old, and they gave us these cool puzzles, so I brought them to you guys since you wasn't able to come.
Well, thank you.
Wow.
Isn't that cool?
That is pretty
The
cool.
only thing I didn't like about it was that we have runners, and I don't know.
Well,
I mean, we probably do have runners, but I don't know that that's.
so this is a perfect time to, we have the Children's Justice Center Fun Run,
Oh, there you go.
June 22nd.
Oh.
Start jogging now, getting your teams together.
Well, that's probably what it was for.
Exactly.
And what?
We do have the summer games.
Coming. Yep.
Excuse me.
Well, coming from my background, I would have liked to have seen a cow and a sheep, but that's just me. Anyway, so that was fun, and some good discussions down at that conference. I wanted to talk a little bit about. We've been having some folks come to us about road issues. So in Iron County, and I don't know about other counties, they probably have the same type issues, but a lot of the roads in Iron County are county roads. They're platted county roads, but they are not maintained by the county. So back in the 60s and that 70s probably, they made a lot of subdivisions, and they just graded a road in, and they didn't put them up to grade or anything. And then I think it was in the 80s they implemented a subdivision ordinance, which was so helpful. But we're having to deal with all these subdivisions from the past. So what happens on these roads is the county road department, there's no way we could do all of them. There's hundreds and hundreds of roads that are out in the county. So the people in those subdivisions go ahead and maintain them themselves. We are asking, if you do that you come in and sign and get an MOU put together. The engineer, Richard Wilson, has that document, and all you have to do is sign it, just to not hold the county responsible in case something happens on the road while you're maintaining those roads. And you definitely, I'm sure you want those roads to be maintained. But they're on the county roads, but say you made a big dish and somebody got hurt on your dish or whatever, then we would, the county wouldn't want to be held responsible for something that you did. And so it's just a release saying that we're not that the county's not responsible. So if you go into the engineer department and sign that release, we would appreciate that. The other thing is there's another process that we have that's called an assessment area, and you can come in and talk to John about that if you want to upgrade your roads and then pay for those. Usually those lots in those subdivisions they don't have all the improvements in them, so they're a cheaper lot. They're less expensive to buy, and so if you go in there and build a nice home, you may want to upgrade those roads. We've done a few of those, and they just charge each one of the lots an amount. They have to vote on it to make, you can't, we won't go in there and do that, but the subdivision folks can do that and decide to do an assessment area, and the county will even allow them to make payments on those assessments. So the road department is starting the patch today, which they patch all the chuck holes and all of the there's some that are breaking up on the sides there, and that'll be probably about a month that we'll be doing that. Then we start the second week in June. We'll start doing our chip seal. We'll finish up 7,700, which will be a good thing. And then we'll go to some other, I think Lund Highway, Burl Highway. There's several that they'll go ahead and put another layer on. We do that, especially on the more traveled roads, about every 7 years we do that chip seal. And of course the last 2 years we've been really, really behind, so we're hoping we'll be able to get caught up on that for that. But one other thing that we're dealing with at the landfill is our tires. We have a huge problem with our tires. To get rid of those tires, there's one person in the state that's supposed to come pick them up. Well, he finally picked them up after we got after him to come get those, and then we have to pay to get rid of those. What we would like to do, and it's not going to be an easy thing, but what we would like to do is be able to cover the landfill with that. A lot of the other states do that. You shred them, and ours says that it has to be down to 2.5 minus, which there's not even a machine that does it to that we can find. They do 6 minus machine, and so we're looking into getting one of those and then doing all of southern Utah and then covering the landfill with that rather than just dirt, because you have to cover it daily, and so it's actually it covers better and it smushes down in the garbage and covers, and so but to be able to do this, we're going to have a legislation change in the law to be able to do that. And I know Idaho does that. Bruce Anderson has gone up, our Public Works, and looked into that. We're getting all the information, and then we'll probably meet with our legislators to be able to see about being able to make that change on the tires, because it's a huge problem. We hadn't had them picked up for 3 years, so we had this huge mound. They finally came and picked them up, but of course it costs you, but we're just wondering if this would be a better solution to what we're dealing with the tires. But anyway, I think that was all I had.
Awesome. Mr. Cousins.
You got a few things here. We had I've been working with Cedar City this week and Jared Platt on the water issue for the jail. We need to get an agreement. I reached out to Babcock and got the numbers that Cedar City needs to start putting that agreement together, and then that'll have to go to the city council. Cedar City has an ordinance where they don't typically provide water outside of the city limits, but in this situation where it's the jail, they've talked about it and said they'll support us. But we need to get that like an MOU or some kind of a contract together, and I've been working on that with Jared and with Babcock. I'll report back what we find out there. And I know, John, you've done some work on that, and I think I even tried calling you, but it's probably in Europe when I didn't realize you was out of the country. I had my 5 counties Southwest Behavioral Health meeting this last week. We do have a little bit of an increase, not drastic, but a little bit of an increase with our share in the 5 county to support that program. And I sent that information to Lucas. I did not attend UAC, but I did attend the UAC board meeting, and it was good. I've also wanted to talk a little bit about, and I've talked to Reed and Terry about this. And I got another letter. We've talked about this. I need to check and see where we're at. I've taken a picture of this, sent it to Reed and Terry, and asked them to talk about this. But it's from the Division of Water Resources, and it's a landscape incentive program to where they'll give people can qualify up to $1.50 per square foot for removing lawn and replace with water efficient landscaping. But to do that, we have to pass some standards in our county. And some of the ones I highlight here is no lawn in parking strips or areas less than 8 feet in width. No more than 50% of front and side yard landscaped areas in new residential development shall be lawn. And lawn limitations do not apply to small residential lots with less than 250 square feet of landscaped area. And then the third was in new commercial, industrial, institutional, and multifamily development common area landscapes, lawn areas shall not exceed 20% of the total landscaped area outside of active recreation areas. But I'll continue to work with Terry and Reed on this. And we need to get this done so that Iron County can be a part of this program and qualify for that rebate for those that want to remove and go to more of a zero-scape landscaping situation. So I am concerned about, I do think and I've talked to Reed a little bit about this, but we've had some, like with the signage and things, with some people that want to start businesses out in the valley with sizes of signs and on buildings, and I think we need to address that as a commission. I think we need to look into that. The particular individual, the limitations on a sign it's just 10 square feet, and it's on his building. And if he would have done that, his building's set so far back. He's on 20 acres, and he's set so far back, you couldn't hardly see that with binoculars, that sign. And so he's got a bigger sign on his building, and of course, received some, pushback on that size of sign. But you can, even from the road, I've got pictures of that sign from the road, and you can barely see it being huge on the building. It's not like a sign by the road, it's on his building. And so I think we need to talk about that and just maybe not be quite so strict on our signage regulations, and discuss that with Reed and Terry and sit down and discuss that. So,
Especially where they're bigger acreage, bigger areas. So
you don't want huge obnoxious signs, but people have to do their business, and when they're driving down the road, you want them to be able to read it and see what they do. And if their building's set way back, I think we need to figure that out. So anyway, that's all I have.
All right. Just a few things. It's been a busy couple of weeks. Sorry, I'm on about week 4 of this cough that
I had it since January.
well, yeah, it's just not going away. An opportunity to meet with a couple of people from small farms in our area, Red Acre Farms and Nature Hills Farms, just working on some issues as far as land use and things like that. I've got concerns, and I've encouraged them to work with our building and zoning, and indicated that we'd be supportive of their of what they're trying to do. I think these small farms, I think they've become really integral, I think, to our kind of the fabric of our community. They've turned into something pretty cool, and the fact that there are folks on really small acreage that are able to carve out a living,
Well, and they're feeding.
it's
they're
pretty
feeding
impressive.
People.
And they're
Actually are feeding people. It's awesome.
it's pretty cool to
Can
see.
I say one thing
Yeah,
while
absolutely.
we're on that? They did a presentation at Farm Bureau the other day, and those folks said in Salt Lake City it's much easier to do this type of farming, this small, farming like this, than it is in Iron County. Now, we need to look at that. That's not a good thing, you know.
Well, and I talked to,
Yeah, I know
Sarah
that.
too.
I know that she. Had
I was
talked
going to bring that up
to
too, but
you
I
guys
kind of.
too,
But
but-
I'm glad you brought it up because
Me too.
they're looking at maybe some agritourism ordinances or something where
Yes.
they can fit in that mold and be okay.
Yes.
Because I agree with you. I mean, I'll tell you what. People that provide food for us, we're going to be very grateful for them at some point, and we are now. But even more so if we fall on hard times, and we need to work with them and let them. I agree. We need to figure it out.
Yeah, I
We
think,
absolutely do.
yeah, because
know?
it's. I don't know. I think
It's a
it's
big
become
deal.
I think it's become a kind of an important niche. And
And
I
the
mean,
other thing that's really a big thing is the education, because they do education for agriculture also. It's not, they're feeding people, which is a huge thing, but they're educating people about our food and where it comes from, and
Right.
and that is huge.
Yeah, no, it's been. I mean, it's been kind of a pleasure. I mean, so really, since I got on the commission, that's one of the first issues that came up when I first got on the commission. 7.5 years ago, and it's been kind of fun to watch these guys progress. And I mentioned those two because I met with those guys in the last couple of weeks. But there's others. I mean, there's a couple of operations out in the Burl Valley, and I mean, there's others besides Red Acre Nature Hills. Those are just the folks that I met with recently. But no, I just think that they're becoming an important part of the fabric
Yeah,
in our community.
absolutely.
So, yeah, well, they entertain me too. That's anyway.
Well, they usually feed us, so.
There's food involved and
food
stuff
involved usually.
and anyway, friendly animals. I'm kind of a sucker to pet the
Oh,
animals.
yeah.
In fact, I ate an emu egg from Nature Hills. It was probably a year ago. They gave me an emu egg.
Ooh.
And one emu egg is worth 12 chicken eggs.
Oh, wow.
So we had like a big family omelet, and I didn't tell them what it was until they ate. They're like, "Oh man, this is good." And I'm like,
Oh, here it is.
anyway. SU had a groundbreaking for their new music building. That's just the relationship that we have with the university. Again, talk about a fabric of our community, and a lot of great things going on there. So it's important that we support those guys.
Yeah, it was a great, really nice groundbreaking. And our church, the Eighth Ward Church, had a stained glass window, and that is going to go into that. They've stored it. The college has stored it, and they're restoring it right now. I think Kim Twitchell is doing the restoration on that, and that will be in that building. I can't wait to see it. That's going to be so cool.
Yeah. Had the Iron County Economic Opportunity Advisory Board last week. I don't even remember what it was. I don't remember. I was either sick or had an issue. I wasn't able to attend. I want to recognize David Johnson. He'll take up a bunch of our time later on in the meeting, but as our new economic development director, that's a really active organization, active board that really does a lot of great things for the community. I just want to talk a second about the importance of relationships, and this is really dumb, and I had just this tiny little part in this, but it's funny how fostering relationships in the community can really get things accomplished. I got a call from SU Aviation. They had, and I can't remember what it was, but it's a giant helicopter. But it's not a functioning helicopter. But it's a giant helicopter that was donated by the company to their maintenance program. So it sits and they take it apart and put it together, and it's a big training thing. But it weighed like 12 tons or something really ridiculous, and they were trying to figure out how to get it off the truck. And thought, you know what, BZI lists heavy things. So really basically all I did is connect SU Aviation and BZI brought these great big telehandlers out, and they heisted this helicopter off. But it's just, I mean, just those little simple relationships can solve big problems. It was just really cool. And then Aviation actually sent out a thing and says, hey, we want to actually put like some sort of a sign on the whole thing for BZI helping. And I'm like, and now, I mean, I made the introduction, but then they did all the coordinating and everything else. So it's just, those relationships are important. It was just kind of cool to see because, the aviation department, that's a department at the university that's actually graduating people and sending them right into high-paying jobs in the real world. And I think they're pretty cool. I like those guys.
I remember the 10%. They educate 10% of the workforce in the United States. We're training the aviation people.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Had Children's Justice Center Advisory Board meeting this week. There's an update on the new building. It's almost done. They're doing, as of last week, they were doing flooring. It's just almost done. We did award the bid to pave the parking lot and stuff. They've got to wait for certain weather conditions to be just right, but that will be underway as soon as they get that figured out. As soon as the weather cooperates. Had an opportunity. I'm glad George walked in the back of the room at the right moment. Met with George. George is like, remember during COVID how George is like, hey, look, I got this, and I got this, and hey, I can get us one of these. He did it again with through the health department. The health department received a mobile disaster morgue, and they're like, we don't know what to do with it. And George raised his hand. And he's like, hey.
I need it.
He's like, I don't know if we need it, but if you need a place to house it. And so I went out there with some officers from the Cedar Police Department, investigators from the Office of the Medical Examiner, and we dug into the box and kind of figured out what that is. Hopefully that's not something that we need, but if we do, we have it, and it's tucked away. It doesn't take up that much room, and George procured that for us. Happy Mother's Day, everybody. It's a day late, but Mother's Day. It was interesting. I heard on the radio, they said, they kind of turned it into a joke, but they said, Mother's Day, statistically in the United States, Mother's Day has, the crime rates really dropped during Mother's Day. And then they went on to say that just means that there's a lot of mothers out there committing crimes that were busy otherwise on Mother's Day. But no, I mean, it's important, recognize our moms. That's why we're all here. And yeah. I have one other thing, but I'm going to wait till the first of the 10 o'clock meeting. I'm going to take a little liberty at the beginning of the next meeting.
I have one more thing. We went to a groundbreaking for the new building for the Central Iron County Water Conservancy. I did too. And so off of Westview Drive, that's going to be really nice. They'll have their office building there and place to work on their equipment and that. So that'll be really nice for the Conservancy District.
They've been renting all these years,
Yeah.
so it'll be nice to have their own
So it'll be
place.
nice to be able to have their own
They've needed a place. It'll be a office.
They've owned that
combination.
property for a
Right.
quite a while,
A shop and an office, so they have a place to work on their stuff.
and a board meeting room so that they can actually meet together in their own place. And
Precision Development's the contractor.
Yeah.
Good.
That's right. Thanks for mentioning that. I forgot to mention it.
All right. There's a glare, but it's about 9:45. We'll be back right. Let's come back right at 10 o'clock. Always got papers to sign and some things to do during the break, so that'll give us plenty of time to get that accomplished. Come back at 10 o'clock. Terry's going to ask for a favor.
He's